Let's go deep dive.
Yeah.
Number one, starting with Cardinals versus the Bills.
Right.
Kyler Murray versus Josh Allen. And let's start with, of course, the Hail Murray, as Mike Tirico called it. The last play of the game, if you're watching on YouTube, you see the amazing image here where DeAndre Hopkins was in between three Bills defenders. And we're not just talking average run-of-the-mill defenders here. We're talking all pros and
Pro Bowlers.
White.
And Jordan Poyer's a Pro Bowler. I mean, he's a hell of a safety. Yeah, Micah Hyde's behind him there, right?
So, I mean, just first of all, your thoughts on this play. Because I think there's some blame with the Bills, and I think it's justified. Like, why didn't they have just guys camped out in the end zone?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that was the only way you lose is a bomb to the end zone.
Exactly. It's 11 seconds left. So
correct. No timeouts.
No timeouts. Exactly right. You know, you want to protect the end zone, and certainly want to protect it with DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, we know he's going to be the go-to guy, but yeah, I think there's things in that play where you just go, why are we showing so much, attention to the guy 15 yards over the middle of the field? So what if they throw to him? The game's over if they do. Let him hit him. And I would even be, a little critical too of just going, so what if they throw to the guy who's 15 yards downfield and he's going to go out of bounds and catch the ball? So what? You still have one more play. Now there's less room on the field, less windows because you're closer to the end zone. It's harder to throw a Hail Mary actually from the 30 or 35-yard line. Either way, Murray is unbelievable, and he just showed it on that freaking play once again. Every quarterback in football gets sacked there where he was. I mean, basically, other than maybe Lamar, maybe Josh Allen can get out of there. But Mario Addison, the rush, they did a good job for the most part all day long, kind of containing him as far as when it was a pass play and he had to scramble and extend plays. But he's just so elusive and strong, and his speed to the edge and then the setup to throw it. And when it left his hands and I saw it was Hopkins, and I went, oh, man, at first it was just him and two guys. I was like, you can ask the guys in the viewing room yesterday. I went, oh, man. And then as soon as it hit his hands, I was just, oh, he caught it. And I was pissed because I picked the Bills to win. Not that I was rooting against, Kyler Murray or anything.
Do you think that because he was flushed out of the pocket to the left there.
Right.
But Hopkins was over on that side. Do you think it was designed for him to flood out of the pocket and go left there?
I don't, but I think it's in every quarterback is looking. They know you have to buy time. If you're thinking about before the play, like I'm going to the end zone with this, you want to buy time. Not only one to just let your receivers get down there, you'd like to buy time to where they get down there and they can kind of get set in a spot. If you really look at Aaron Rodgers and his successful ones, he's bought time. The guys get down there and can kind of create a position, and now they get to see the ball go up so they can really follow it and track it and do those type of things. And I think when he saw 97 Mario Addison make a little move towards the inside, he went, ooh, I can get around. And Addison did a good job of recovering and grabbed his jersey, but he ran through it. But I think that was his thought. I don't think it was designed. It didn't look like it to me. But he's special, and he has great feel that way.
Here's one of the things the Bills could have done.
Yeah.
And David A. Turkey tweeted at you and said, why don't teams jam at the line in Hail Mary situations, double jam Hopkins, make the shorter Christian Kirk or Andy Isabella beat you? Why didn't they do that?
I don't know. This is something that Coach Dungy and I talked about as well. We talked about this on Sunday Night Football last night. It was something we talked about. I think if you saw other defenses, and I don't want to say anything negative. I mean, Sean McDermott is one of the better defensive minds in football. But yes, I would argue, again, if I'm going to hold the standard of situational football, I would bet you if New England was in that situation, they would have jammed DeAndre Hopkins off the line of scrimmage. They would have gone, wait, we're going to let this guy who can go 360 dunk on a basketball court and we're going to let him go post up in the end zone and then jump over us, and he's got arguably the best hands in football as is. I mean, DeAndre Hopkins' hands are phenomenal. We know that. I did a thing with him on my podcast last year. I have giant hands. You know that.
Yes.
His hands dwarfed mine. And that they're like mitts. They're oven mitts. I don't even know what they are. But
almost you could treat it like a gunner situation, right?
Yes.
Like a punt, like a gunner, don't let him get off the line.
Right. You disrupt. Now you cause the quarterback to look somewhere else because he might go, wait, I want to throw DeAndre Hopkins. Wait, he's only 12 yards downfield and I'm here, so now I'm going to do something else. It throws you out of your rhythm, let alone takes that guy ability away to get down the field like we're talking about and set up in the end zone.
Yeah, and he was the only player in the end zone, DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah.
I think we have the next-gen animation for this play here, too. Yeah, here's all the stuff. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see what Chris is describing here. Let those guys in the middle of the field.
Yeah, like who cares about like Larry Fitzgerald, number 11? I mean, it's unbelievable, really, when you look at that. But could you rewind that again, Kristen, one more time? Yeah, I mean, when you watch, first off, there's Larry on the inside three of the receivers to the right.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if it's necessary to sit there and cover him with two guys, basically, 33 and Trey Edmonds were over there. And really, I would also argue that even with like Jordan Poyer, where he was in the middle of the field, like at that point. Well, why are we following a deep crosser 20 yards down the field? You know, once he escaped the pocket and started to do that, the game was over. I mean, it was 3 or 4 seconds in the pocket, run out. I mean, and there was only 2 seconds left on the clock. So you really could have said, throw the ball anywhere you want. We're just not going to let you throw a Hail Mary and catch that in the end zone.
So here, in the reverse of that is that 99 times out of 100, I don't know, how many times do you think it is? Like, how many times, if they run this exact play, like 3 guys on DeAndre Hopkins, if they do it 20 times, he comes up with it once. Right? I mean, like, even if there are things that the Bills could have done better, and this is always my pet peeve, like in baseball, too.
Yeah.
They always crush the manager because they're like, how could they take this guy out? And then he gave up a home run.
Sure,
it's like, well, guess what? The players still had to produce and make the plays.
Yeah.
It's like, even with some things the Bills could have done to maybe increase their chances, that's a very low probability chance of happening.
It's a low probability. There's no doubt. I still think it's better than 1 for 20, though.
You do?
With people like DeAndre Hopkins and really basically, you know, Poyer got to be there, to make it look like 3-on-1, but it was really 2-on-1 for the better part of that. And you're talking about a guy who has the best vertical out of those guys there, is the tallest out of those guys there, has the best hands out of those guys there. And again, it's not a disrespect to anybody in the Bills secondary or anything like that, but, you know, these freaky receivers, I've just had an experience a little bit with guys like Brandon Marshall and let's say Roy Williams, who went to your Detroit Lions, you know, the number 7 pick and those guys. Like, in those situations, it's 1-on-2 or 1-on-3. No, it's not 50-50, but they're so freakish and so good at playing the ball and figuring it out that I think it's better than 1 for 20. I think it might be like 3 or 4 for 20, something like that, just to give you a number.
So Josh Allen had a great drive to get the lead there, and we'll look at that in a second here. But let's just talk about the Arizona Cardinals offense a little bit more.
Let's do it.
And because they were able to run the ball as well with Kenyon Drake, and so normally it's the Kyler Murray show, and he was able to run the ball as well.
Yes, he
was. Some
of
those read options were awesome.
Phenomenal.
Bills had no way of stopping them, would you say that the Cardinals' offense looked maybe even more dynamic in this game than they have?
I think I'm excited about the Cardinals right now, about things I saw on both sides of the ball, and especially the offensive side of the ball. You know, I know you're not here for every podcast, but one of the things I've been talking about with them a little bit is people are on to their passing game. You know what I mean? Again, it's 22 of 32 for 245, and let's not forget, 45 of them came on the last play of the game. I mean, so really, he was in the high 190s, you know, there before the last drive. Their offense will not be able to survive with just throwing the ball, spread it out, you know, Texas Tech throwing the football. No, it's not diverse enough that way in this day and age in the NFL. Teams are too good. The players are too good. They break it down. It's just too simplistic for this day and age in the NFL. This gives them another element to go, whoa, watch out. It was impressive what they did. I mean, we know the Bills aren't great at stopping the run, but either way, it was creative run schemes. I mean, it wasn't just, hey, inside zone. They were pulling guards. Of course, you talked about the quarterback plays. There was some draws, everything like that. But that is going to give them a great schematical advantage. I mean, I really felt like early on in the game, especially between the run game, some personnel sets, and some formations, I went, whoa, okay, Arizona, we can build on this. This is going to diversify them a little bit, you know, because again, you know, hey, it's 32-30, and this isn't a great defense. They're going to play some defense at some point. It's going to be able to go, wait, no, we have a great secondary, and we can, you know, cover you, and then we were pretty well coached, so now we got the right scheme to cover your schemes, and we can do it man-to-man. They got to have another element for those teams, right, if they want to be talked about as a serious, serious contender in the NFC. And I think this will do it. Because what you saw, I mean, whether it was the pulling guard plays and Drake and Edmonds running it up the middle, but think about the first thing you said. Kyler Murray didn't get touched on those runs.
Right.
Because they're worried, like, all of a sudden there's weight to those running plays with the running backs. Now the linebackers and the safeties are going, damn, like, no, they're gashing us with the run game for 10 yards. We got to watch the running back, Oh, wait, he kept it? Well, he's gone because I can't catch him. See ya. And I think it's a special thing, and even a little bit more play action. But I was very excited about what the Cardinals did to Buffalo. Buffalo, and this is why I picked them, they were all over some of their pass concepts. And I've seen this from time to time with smart D coordinators on this offense. And I think this run game will give them another, schematical advantage to not let teams overplay their hand on their pass game too much.
Give the Cardinals credit for sticking with it because they were down 23-9. Could have been a turning point after the Kenyon Drake fumble. Allen went to Beasley, and so it was a big lead for Buffalo there. In Arizona, what'd they do? They came right back down. They gave the ball back to Drake.
Yes.
It was like, we're not going to put you in the doghouse.
Right.
We'll give you the ball again. We need the rest of the game.
Love that.
And then Murray was able to take one of his rushing touchdowns into the end zone. So it was like they stuck with it. There's one thing that the Bills did a couple of times to Kyler where they didn't rush him. They just kind of stayed back there, jumped up, knocked the ball down.
Yep.
You saw them do that a couple times here. Is that something other teams can do?
I wrote this down because this actually, Miami did it to him a little last week too. I think this is going to be a new thing too where, again, the NFL is a copycat league. I can tell you from my own experience in 2006, at the end of 2005, we threw a lot of short pass game, right? Quick game. John Gruden's got all these, great plays to get the ball to your hands quick, all that. Teams stopped rushing us, and they just started, I'll put my hands up. I'll bat the ball. Chris he's not going to be able to throw through there.
Yeah.
And
he ain't running.
Yeah,
not worried
running.
about that.
So, yeah, exactly right. No, you're right. So that happened to me a little at the end of 2005, but then going into the 2006 season, we play some games early on. People go back and they watch the film. Wait, we got to get ready to play them. They see that. It becomes a copycat thing. So now every time I drop back, people aren't rushing. They're putting their hands up. You're seeing it a lot with them. One, because he's short. Two, they got a lot of quick, short throws in the screen game and the receivers and all that. And it's just one other way to not let the great skill set of Kyler Murray stress you out to go, okay, we could take away these passes even though you're there on the edge to stop him from running or whatever else.
Right. Did you ever, I'm curious here.
Our boss is here watching us, nervous.
Now you got to really, now you got to give the good analysis.
He's just going to watch over us, too, the masked man over here.
Exactly, looking over you. So let's see how good this was.
He's not that cute with the mask, or not that tough with the mask on that's got, like, flowers on it and stuff, though. So.
I know, it's not as intimidating, as it could be. So did you ever do what Kyler did in this game and complete a Hail Mary touchdown pass?
No. I mean, in fact, in my NFL career,
how many did you attempt?
In my NFL career, I think I only threw one Hail Mary, and it was from my own goal line. No joke.
Yeah.
Playing the Denver Broncos in 2004 with Jake Plummer and Mike Shanahan, the coach. Brad Johnson couldn't throw it real far. I could launch it over 70, but we were on our own 5-yard line, and Gruden put me in with like 9 seconds left to throw a Hail Mary. And I wanted to be like, first off, I think my arm might fall off if I try to throw this as far as I can right now. But I don't think I threw one in college, and I didn't throw one in high school. I never threw a Hail Mary in a game.
Okay, never happened.
It's disappointing.
You were behind in high school.
He was never behind.
Well, no, not in high school. It's like Kyler Murray. He probably had the same issue, But yeah, there was very few times we were behind in high school, actually.
So that's a feather in the cap for Kyler Murray, able to come back. So let's go to the other side of the ball here, because I think it is interesting with the Bills. And they're one play away from us gushing over how the Bills and Josh Allen drove the team down.
Yep.
What was that final drive there? 12 plays, 78 yards.
It was work.
And the touchdown to Stephon Diggs, while is not going to be replayed as much as the Kyler Murray touchdown, I think was almost as amazing what he was able to do, because he's throwing off his back foot 35 yards on a line to Stephon Diggs.
Yes.
Which was an amazing way to end an amazing drive for the Bills. Really.
It was. It really was. It was, a great way for him to answer after kind of a shaky second half, right? It was not smooth at all by any stretch of the imagination for the Bills in general. Hey, we can't forget. Yeah, he threw 2 interceptions in the second half, right? They were both in the second half, yes. They had the 12-yard punt that set up the field goal.
Yeah.
That was a big moment in the football game, but they hung in there. They really did. And you were there at the end of the game when they were down 26-23. They hadn't really done anything on the offensive side of the ball in quite some time. So you're sitting there just going, I don't think they're going to be able to pull it off. I don't think so. And, and unlike Arizona, Josh Allen and the Bills, they can't run the ball. And as you saw, that became an issue for them in some of their stale points of the game because Arizona just basically said, yeah, I mean, we know you might run it here and there, but we don't really care.
Why can't they run it? What's wrong here? I mean, because, Zach Moss, 7 carries, 20 yards. Devin Singletary, 4 carries, 15 yards.
I know. It's a talent. It's not.
And they both had a long of like 13 and 14, so they got like nothing.
Nothing on the other runs. They get nothing. I know. And it's like, I don't really know what to tell you because it's a pretty talented O-line. I don't look at it as like, oh, wow. It's just they came out this year as a passing football team, and that's kind of been their MO. Singletary is not great as a runner. Moss has been injured. And now I think they've gotten into some games between their defense and everything like that to where they can't ever work on the run game. It's always like, no, we got to throw, or, our defense is getting, so you got to catch up, Josh Allen. It's just, so it's never lent itself to being able to go like, hey, we're going to focus on the run game. Our defense will slow them down this week, and now we'll work on the run game. No, the defense doesn't slow anybody down any week, really, and they don't ever get that option, really. But I think the big story of the day, more than anything, is kind of what you said, the fact that the Cardinals didn't have to worry about the run game. And, hey, Vance Joseph, ex-head coach of the Denver Broncos, man, he's doing some cool things on defense. He really is. And I think the big thing where I want to say I misevaluated the Cardinals and where we all got to start giving them credit, their back 7, okay, is legit. I mean, their back 7. When we talk about Simmons, the first-round top 10 pick, Hicks at linebacker, okay? And then you get into Budda Baker and Patrick Peterson and Dre Kirkpatrick, and I'm missing other people. Oh, Byron Murphy, who's a really damn good football player. Their other safety, 34, Thompson, he's a pretty damn good football player.
So they're more talented on defense than we've given them credit for?
Jalen Thompson, excuse me. Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Where they're not real talented is their front 4. But because Vance Joseph is doing all these stand at the line of scrimmage, you don't know who's blitzing, who's running, and basically, and I'm going to pull up this because this is, to me, one of the cool things. They played some snaps in this game where they played no defensive lineman, not one defensive lineman in the game. And they would play 45, Dennis Gardick, okay, 49, Isaiah Simmons, 48, I just want to make sure I get all the, or 49, Kylie Fitz, 48, Isaiah Simmons, okay? Then you got Jordan Hicks at middle linebacker. You got 51, Tanner Vallejo, another linebacker. Hassan Riddick, number 43, and Budda Baker, 32, on certain plays, all 7 of them at the line of scrimmage. All 7 are linebackers or DBs.
So no defensive linemen.
No defensive linemen.
Defensive tackles.
And they're just going, wait, we're athletic. We might rush 3, we might rush 5, we might rush 4. Either way, we got people here to contain Josh Allen if he wants to extend plays. And then the people that we got drop out are athletic, and they'll be able to cover and do things that way. So I really got to give Vance Joseph a lot of credit. I really do. I thought his game plan was pretty special. And the fact of his, blitz one guy, drop another guy, and still be a 4-man rush, he never let Josh Allen really do Josh Allen things where we see him kind of like buy time and take over and scramble around. He made 1 or 2 plays like that yesterday, but it wasn't a ton. And I think that was the big thing. It was because Vance Joseph had the right approach on the backside, and they covered well. I think that's the other thing I was shocked by. Kirkpatrick, Patrick Peterson, Byron Murphy Jr., they covered Beasley, Diggs, and McKenzie.
Yeah.
Really well. Really well, okay? To where, I would usually say, man, you play man-to-man against that group and John Brown and everybody like that, they're going to torch you a few times. Yeah, they made a few plays, but it wasn't like gashes and people wide open all over. And I think that was really the impressive part of the game to me.
So they're a legit contender. You would not be shocked if the Cardinals won the division.
I would not anymore. And I would have told you like 2 or 3 weeks ago, I'd go, no, there's no way. Not with the defense, not with that predictable spread offense. If they can run the ball and just stay consistent with that. Doesn't always have to be effective, but just keep doing it just to keep people to respect it. And then if their defense can cover that way, and Vance can figure out ways to be creative, yeah, they're going to be a player in the NFC. Hey, one thing we know, the NFC is up for grabs. Why can't Arizona beat the Green Bay Packers? Why? Tell me why. They got more talent on their team than Green Bay. So Green Bay's the #1 seed right now. That's where it's just amazing. So, yeah, it's wide open. And they got some things that are really cool. Where I worry about them is that they have to play great running teams. And fortunately for them, there's not really one of those teams in the NFC playoff picture either, except for maybe the Rams, and they're going to get to face off them and play them twice here soon anyways.
They dialed up the pressure against Josh Allen.
Yes, they did.
And he was 7 of 18 for 48 yards, season low 2.7 yards
That's
per
not usual.
attempt when under pressure.
Yeah.
And so they were able to say, you're not going to run against us. We're not scared of it. And you don't see a way that that's probably going to change for the Bills.
No, I don't. I don't see how that's going to change. I don't. They're just going to have to go back to the drawing board and figure out when teams want to play us that way, what is going to be our next move? How are we going to compound it and do those things? It's a special, unique matchup and some special athletes by Arizona. Yeah, like I said, I worry about them if a team has to run the ball. But when it comes to speed, passing game, I think I and a lot of us in the media and everything have dropped the ball and how talented they are and how the game favors them that way. And we've seen them. 2 out of the last few weeks. Russell Wilson, Josh Allen, big moments. We can contain you. We can make some plays, do those type of things. It speaks to the athleticism they have on that squad.
Well, regardless, it was one of the games of the year so far. And if you take a look at the win probability chart for this game, Chris, it was all over the map. I mean, that's just like it's like a heartbeat.
It's
if
amazing.
You're seeing on YouTube right here.
Holy cow.
Which I do feel like 2020, what it is doing to the win probability charts is it's changing them. It's like in the future, we'll look at a game and be like, how does that team not have a 90% chance of winning? We'll be like, one time in 2020.
That year in 2020.
Kyler Murray brought them back and they won. So now we know that it is possible.
Yeah.
So that was an amazing game. Maybe it'll go down as the game of the year. And I say that because, as I've told you before, I have a very poor memory. And I can't really remember other games. I know Seattle have had a few of them, but that one's my new game of the year. That's the game of the year.
That's cool. I mean, I think that should be legitimately in the running. That had a little bit of everything there. Mm-hmm. And, yeah, you're right. Just off the top of my head, I can't think of too many more exciting games than that. I mean Arizona,
two game-winning touchdown passes.
Yeah,
from two great quarterbacks
in 40 seconds.
Yes,
yeah, it was pretty awesome.
Good game. Two good teams though. We're still high on both those teams. They have their deficiencies, Bills and even the Cardinals, but still high on both of those teams. Would not be surprised if they made a deep run into the playoffs.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.